Here is some helpful information for anyone who is planning on tiling a set of stairs that I believe will save you a lot of frustration in the future. So let's go ahead and get started with our first tip, and that will be to have all of these smaller pieces of tile located either at the bottom or the back, not at the front, because these areas are going to get the least amount of attention visually, and the fact that smaller pieces located in the front are going to be a little easier to break off, because this is the area that most people are going to be stepping on. They're not going to be stepping back here. However, they will be stepping on this area here. And if this is all you take away from the video, then I've done my job. And another thing that's going to be important will be to use tile with square edges so that you don't end up with the self-spacing grout line protrusions making your stairway look horrible. Another thing will be to build the stairs to the correct width of the tile layout. If you actually have that option, you're not going to have that option if you're working with a pre-existing stairway. That could create a situation where you end up with a small piece of tile located somewhere in the stairway. Now, you could always put the small piece in the center or reposition the tiles. I'm going to provide you with an example of that here in a second. And even though small pieces of tile aren't aesthetically pleasing, they are also items that can fall off of the stairway. I've seen it plenty of times. And to make this look a little nicer, all we need to do is start at the center with the center tile to create two pieces of tile at both ends that will be the same size. And I went ahead and left this in here just to give you an idea of what I did. And of course, this is what it would look like if the rest of the stairway tiles lined up. And repositioning the tiles is probably about the easiest way to get rid of small pieces of tile and eliminate unnecessary waste. In our next example, I just kind of wanted to give you an idea of what it would look like if it didn't go underneath the tiles that we're using for our steps. And again, I wouldn't suggest using this method. Another option will be to use larger tiles if that will work better for your project. And you can see here where we have a problem over here. That again can be easily fixed by repositioning the tile. However, we're going to end up with a lot of waste if we use these 12-inch tiles, because what are we going to do with our 5.5-inch pieces? And if you were going to use this method here and you didn't want to have as much waste, I would just simply move this over a 1/2 inch so that you would end up with 6-inch pieces on one side, and then you would have a 7-inch piece of tile here with a 5-inch piece of waste on this side. So at the very least, you would end up with half of the waste that you would have if you didn't move it over a 1/2 inch. So you can get creative with the layout of the tile to save time and money. And the last thing I want to mention is don't forget to allow for the grout lines. In this one here, we have a 1/4 inch grout line. And if I start at the center, I'm going to have a 6 1/8 inch tile, again creating waste on this side. Or I could simply increase the space between the tiles to make this layout work. And let's go ahead and wrap the video up with a quick recap of what I mentioned in the video. Front tile edge on top, no self-spacing tile edges. Use better tile sizes if you need to. A 6-inch tile might work better than a 4-inch tile, or an 8-inch tile might work better than a 6-inch tile. And don't forget about your grout spacing when calculating the width of your stairs or the layout of the tiles. Next up, try to position all of the cuts you make on the tile in an area like the back where they won't be noticed. And if at all possible, try to eliminate any small pieces of tile. And of course, I will leave that up to you as to just exactly how big those pieces might be.